You should be live and we should have audio.
So we are live. So if anybody has any questions, anything you want to chat about, put it up in the comments. Dean will help us. And Dean, I'm telling you, I'm getting feedback of everything I'm saying is coming through my headset. Thank you. So I see we got someone from Arizona. It's different having everybody here on Tuesday. Which house controls this one? I have no idea. Because I can't see any questions if somebody's talking to us. Dean, because you put yourself up on the monitor, I can't see any questions if anybody's asking us. Thank you. So we got Connecticut, we got Missouri. I can hear you, Dean, and I can still hear myself. It won't be a big problem. I would just take my headset off. Ed doesn't have one on yet, but he will. I can test it for you. Just give me a second. Know where it is.
At the moment, I don't see any way to make that better. So,
all right, you can just take mine then. Well, I can't hear myself. It drives me nuts if I hear myself.
You can hear me, Ed?
So, yeah, someone said that they talk to themselves all the time. Yeah, I do too. It's especially because I'm the only one who will actually ever listen to myself. Nobody ever wants to listen to me at home. Got a Tallahassee, Florida. So if you guys have any questions, shoot them off in the comment section, as always. That's great, Dean. Can you make it bigger? Like put the font bigger or something?
Let me try.
That's perfect. If you can adjust the font, that would be great. Or you're going to have to watch for us. We made it bigger. Even one more if you could do it. Daryl noticed our background. Thank you, Daryl. And it's always nice. I hope I say this right, Paimie. It's always nice to see you here. I think you're a regular. We got to start having cards where you could clip out the thing and how many ones you've been to. Hey, Ed, do you guys know if you have some of these? Some of what? No, I don't.
That was the red thing you grabbed, I thought.
No, that's the other one.
Okay.
This I got from you guys.
Okay.
This mantle I got from you.
Okay. No, I don't know.
Okay.
What time is it? 11 minutes?
Yeah.
I can find out.
Yeah.
I don't think that's it.
Yep.
Learned something from the Chinese group. Okay.
So I'm just looking at the questions in the comments. Ah, yeah. Okay, so I think I pointed that out. Yes, it is a very festive background. I'll tell you, it took me almost 7 hours putting those hardwood panels up and then putting the stain on them. So 2 unrelated questions tonight on the topic, but can you tell me what you use to adhere carbon fiber to pen tubes, and how do you trim stainless steel mesh from a pen tube? So the carbon fiber is actually kind of easy. I just use 5-minute epoxy, but what I'll do is cut the sleeve probably a good half-inch longer, and then pull it, and then clamp it off. And then then I've got it nice and tight on there. You don't want it over tight because you can see through it. And I'll tell you, one of the big things that you want to do is make sure you paint the tube black before you do that, so that if you do pull the carbon fiber too far, you'll be able to see it. So that's how I do mine. And then stainless steel mesh from the pen tube. I forgot what the device is, but it's really just, I just use around like a cutter that goes a little bit around, and then put it on my sanding center, and then just kiss it to the sanding disc, and I'll sand it off. If John was here, John is a master at that stuff. What do you guys, and you can tell me in the comments, what do you think about doing the extra? So the next 4 weeks, we're going to be doing an extra series. It's really setting yourself up to either make Christmas gifts, make some host gifts, make some hostess gifts, kind of look at Christmas a little bit, and make some gifts for, I know we've got one coming up. We're going to talk a little about making gifts with kids and for kids. So let us know in the comments what you think about having these extra 4 nights out here. And then I think, I don't want to spread a rumor that I'm not positive of yet, but Dean can talk about it. I think next Thursday we're going to have Dean doing a demo on our normal Thursday night. Yes, that is exactly it. What? No, that's it. Oh, that's not this one, though. Sorry. This one will work.
Well, it'll be smaller. It's going to be the one for the jet, not the one for the.
So this one is 1.25 by 8. It's in a similar looking box like this. You just don't have it in right now. This one
Mm-hmm.
is the PSI version of it. This one is a slightly longer one.
Okay.
I know it's
As far as I know, that's the one we got.
I don't think anybody's asking me any questions.
Yeah, we got 7 minutes.
So I will go on the Exotic Blanks website while I'm waiting. Yeah, it's this one. It's the Universal Mandrel system.
I will give that to Don. And take it off.
Take off the headset. Yep.
I will do that forthwith.
So we still have about 5 minutes to the point that we're going to get started. So now's the time to go get that last bit of snacks because the next 6 to 7 hours we are going to be packed watching this video. Has everybody signed up for the Midwest Pine Turners Gathering in the comments? You can say whether you have or not. It's in April in Chicago. I see Sarah. Hello, Sarah. The lathe is perfectly centered. So Sarah, I know you signed up. You're always number 3. Terry, I always know that you showed up, so I'd like to see you there. Steve, thank you for signing up. So the biggest thing about signing up early is you got more tickets for the lathe giveaway. We have always, since I've started, had the luck that Jet Powermatic sponsors us. And we've got a lot of sponsors, but Jet Powermatic sponsors us. And Jet gives us a lathe. And then the local woodcraft store, I'll just let you guys know this. So if anybody is in the market for a really good lathe, Jet Powermatic will supply through Woodcraft lathes, and for the 2 lathes that we need in our rooms, and then we sell them right off the floor at cost for Woodcraft. So I know Woodcraft was giving about $100 to $150 discount last year on the lathes because we had opened them up. Obviously, not a lot of use in them. So if you're looking for a lathe, let me know and send me an email, and first in, first served on the 2 lathes that we'll be having. But they're nice jets that we get in, and I forgot the model number. I think it's a 1024 or a 1018. And Woodcraft and Jet sponsor them for us. Is the hotel link for the MPG still active? Yes, Kent, the hotel link for the MPG is, hey, Terry, it says that you'd like a lathe. Shoot me an email or a text if you have it, or worst case is, send it to Ed if you don't have my direct one at sales, and I'll make sure that you're on the list, and you right now would be the first one on the lathe. So you would have first choice on it. Kent, yes, the hotel deal will still be active. It'll be active through the end of the year. The hotel that we're going to be using is going to be giving us a $30 off per night for the rest of the year. Thank you for shimming up your computer screen. Can you die?
Can't be dyed without a vacuum.
As a matter of fact, Treasure Maze, I am going to do that tonight. I'm going to dye wood without a vacuum. And it's going to be a technique that we're going to do at pretty much near the end of it. And we're going to do it with trans tint. Terry, what's your contact? I don't want to just give it out over YouTube. So send it to sales at Exotic Blanks. And Dean will make sure, Ed will make sure that you get it to me. And you know what, Terry, don't worry about it. I'm pretty sure I have yours at home. And so we can definitely make sure that we get it to you that way. Dean just closed out my screen.
Almost.
Thank you. Yeah, so someone else, you can see someone bought their lathe at the MPG last year. I think it's a great deal on it, and it's only been used by a couple people for a couple hours.
Hey, do you have headset back on?
I'm going to slide
Yeah, I
over
have
while you
it.
do the intro.
I have it on.
We're hitting 6 o'clock, so you should be able to start. You want to go kick things
Yep.
off?
Yep, I'll get started now. I will be doing that right now. So yes, it's 6 o'clock. Thank you everybody for attending. As usual, I have to take this off. It's giving me everything everybody is saying. Sorry. Now I can talk. Thanks to everybody for attending, and particularly we want to remind everyone that we are always helped by Dean, who takes care of all of our IT side here and makes things go fairly smoothly. Tonight we're going to have Mark for the vast majority of the presentation, and it's that time of the year when hunting is legal. And so you will find that finding John Underhill is usually look in the nearest tree. But we are happy to say hi to John when he comes, and we're happy to have him have the opportunity to go out and actually enjoy himself a little bit. So he will be here for most of the new presentations. As we've announced, we're going to be doing this on Tuesdays now for a few weeks. Simply because we've decided to have Mark come in regularly and come up with some of the ideas, at least the basics of the ideas, that he's using in his art and craft fairs. Mark is extremely successful at selling product to the end users. We believe that if you want to be successful as well, you will learn a tremendous amount from listening to Mark. Obviously, I'm here and I will interrupt him periodically just to keep him in line. But most of what you're listening to is stuff that Mark has presented in the past. And some of it here, you'll also find that no two presentations are the same.
Oh, I've got some new stuff tonight.
Yeah,
We've got some new stuff.
typically the way it works out. There's always going to be a little bit different, a little bit more, a little bit transition from one way of doing it to another. So don't feel like because you've seen him make a handle before, you've seen the presentation. By the end of the night, I guarantee you'll see things you haven't seen before. So with that in mind, also, I want to remind everybody that Mark is the brains behind the MPG. So when he starts, I invite him to give you a few words about the MPG, just so that you're kept in line, kept aware of what's going on. And then for the rest of the evening, you'll be listening to Mark. And if he needs my help, he'll let me know, but don't hold your breath. So
Yeah, I think I'll do.
Dreyer.
You want to pop out?
I'll pop out.
I think I'll do the MPG stuff while Dean's doing the giveaways.
Okay.
So we will have a couple giveaways. We will have a couple breaks in the middle of this. I'm going to tell you this. So one of the things that we're going to do, and one of the things that Ed tasked me with when we started this, is for those of you who have been here a long time, I think we've been doing these demos on Thursdays for at least a couple of years. We want to get down into projects and doing a lot more with technique. And so that's what I'm going to be focusing on tonight. I'm going to be doing at least 3 different projects that are focused in on technique. And over the course of the next couple of weeks, we've got a bunch of cool projects that are going to be out. So tonight, we are going to focus in on first making a pizza cutter that we're going to be doing. Then we're going to be doing a series of ice cream scoops, which will make a nice giveaway. And then from that, you'll see that I'm going to talk about making what's called a generic handle. And on the generic handle, That's going to allow me to put on a whole bunch of different add-ons. And when I get to that one, we'll talk about that one. Dean is monitoring the questions, and Ed is over here also to stop me. So if you have any questions, any comments, if I'm going too fast on something or I've got to roll back on something, please let me know. So with that, let's start. So if you haven't done any kind of other turning or you've basically been a pen maker, I'll tell you, the cool part about making pens, and I've dwelled on this, I know John has dwelled on it, I know Ed has talked about this quite a lot, is that after a few minutes, you get tired of just making a wood pen. And then you want to start doing acrylic. And then there's the whole world of casting. And there's a whole world of stuff that you're going to get into. Well, I'm going to tell you, when we start to do this one, we're kicking it up even another notch. All that stuff that we learned from doing pen making and all the technique John has taught you about how to do casting, we're going to be doing here. So with that, as I said, I want to start talking with pizza cutters. And I'll tell you, I think the first thing that most of us do when we make a pizza cutter is something that looks like this. It's maple, not a lot to it. If you looked at it really, really close, you'd notice that the grain doesn't even line up perfectly. But it was one of the first things I made. And I'll tell you, you give this to someone as a gift for Christmas, they're going to go, thank you, and then it's going to go in a drawer. So what you do is, you go, well, that's kind of plain, and I don't know how many people who are in wood turning clubs, you look at this stuff and they go, it's a simple handle. So what you kind of do then is you want to, take it up a notch, and you go, hey, you know what? I'm going to do something like this. I'm going to take that pizza cutter and I'm going to put a whole bunch of coves in there. I'm going to put some roundness in there. This is completely impractical. It's not a great looking handle, but it's just a way that you want to show off all the skill that you have. I'm not a big fan of this technique either. So what I want to talk to you tonight about is doing something real simple and making your handles out of either a beautiful piece of wood that we're going to add a very few embellishments on, or doing something like this. This is half wood, half acrylic, and this is a blank that it's for a dimension on these things. For most of the pizza cutters, you only need something that's about 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches by 6 inches tall. If you don't want to do your own casting, I know that Dawn has some blanks here. Here's another great looking blank that that Exotic sells that you can do this. Oh, you know what? Before I get into this, I'm going to take a step back. I forgot something. Look at that. I forgot something already. But this is another great blank that Dawn sells and has up on the website. These make great handles. But before I do that, I do want to take a sincere message, and Ed had talked about this before, thanking all our veterans on Veterans Day. And if you are looking to thank a veteran, there are some blanks here that I know John has pioneered in doing some of the service stripes that are out there. This is a service stripe on a bolt action that you can pick up from here. I love these. These are my favorite. John does the walking medallions on his, where am I at, Dean? Over here. Walking medallions on his opals. So that's a Navy one. This one is a Marine Corps one. And of course, a nice Army one. So while we have the blanks and you want to use, if you want to do something to thank someone else, that's great. But I want to thank all the veterans who have helped serve our country, and I mean that sincerely. Thank you very much. So back to handle making. The cool thing about doing this stuff is we don't need a lot of other tools. So what I like to do when I'm going to do my handle is I'm going to mount this thing on, Ed had this posted on the side. Let's actually, I'm going to go all the way from the start. So what I'm going to do is start us up by everything that I need to get this ready to go. So I am going to, where is my, do you see my,
Which look?
my jaws?
Oh, your chuck.
Yeah, my chuck.
Uh,
Oh, right here.
right in front of both of us.
So I will normally use the Easy Wood chuck when I'm doing all this stuff. Unfortunately, I forgot to bring it. So I've got one of Ed's Vicmark chucks that I've got here. And all I'm going to do is I got to put a hole in the bottom of this pizza cutter. So let's take a look at one of the pizza cutters that I have here. The pizza cutter is a blank that basically starts out looking like this. We're going to drill a hole, and I'm going to use what's called a B-cert. And the beauty of the B-cert is any tool that, or any of these attachments that we're going to want to do, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit later, as long as this is 3/8 inch up here, this handle is going to work on a bunch of different things that we could do. So all we're going to do is drill the hole in here for doing the B-cert. And I love coming to these things because I learn a lot. Last month, I learned that John does it completely differently than I do. And oh my God, it works so much better. I went home and actually did what he did, and it was incredible. So John, when you look at the B-cert, it's going to tell you that you need to use a 1/2 inch drill bit. And John last time talked about, instead of using a 1/2 inch drill bit, what he does is uses a 12.5 millimeter drill bit. And it works so much better with the 12.5 millimeter drill bit because it's snug. So you can see here, I chuck up a 12.5 millimeter drill bit. And if you can see here, I put a little piece of blue tape. That's telling me how far and how deep I want to go in to actually make my drill. And so if you look at it, what I did was I simply took my B-cert, put it on the drill bit, made sure that I cleared this little front part so that I know that I've got a solid hole that's in there. And then I put a piece of blue tape here. Now that I know that, it's basically I've set the depth of this perfectly. Any questions on that? I mean, it's just a great way of setting the depth on anything that I'm doing. So all I'm going to do is line this up, match it up. I am going to, for safety, always make sure that I put on my mask. I don't want to engage it while the drill bit is touching. I want to make sure that I'm going to engage it slightly, pushing it into the drill bit. Watch how easy this is going to be. We'll simply turn it on. This is how weird it is at my house. I don't know if you noticed that you get a lot of the ribbons coming out of here. I can tell you this, at my house, what I do know is that it's exactly 13 times rotation on my handle. So even if I don't have that tape on here, once that thing makes contact with it, I rotate it 13 times and I know that I'm deep enough to put that in. So now I can take this, pull this out.
Mark, before you take that off, okay.
Sure, go ahead.
If you're making something where you know that the threads are going to have to go deeper into it, do you pre-drill it at this point?
Yes, and I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes.
Okay.
Thank you. So, excellent question. I promise you I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes. So I want to focus in on the pizza cutter first.
Okay.
So you can see here I got the hole drilled in. And if I put my B-cert on here, you can see it's not a push fit. It doesn't fit directly in there. It's pretty close, but it won't go in. And so if I use a 1/2 inch drill bit, it'll drop in, and then I got to worry about glue. I still will put a little bit of glue on here, but what I'm going to do now is I'm simply going to take this over to my drill press. I'm going to use the quill to push down on it, get it to kiss in, and then slowly put a little glue on the outside here. I don't put glue in the hole. The reason I don't put glue in the hole is, what camera are we on? There we go. Is if I put glue in the hole, the glue can actually go in, especially if I'm doing something longer, it'll actually plow and go into the B-cert. And so I don't want that to happen. So I will only use glue on the outside of this. But once I take this over to my drill press, use the quill, push down on here, it's going to seat perfectly. And I will have something that comes out looking just like that. Now, if I do get a little glue that is seeped out when I'm doing that, and I might get a little bit of glue on here, I will literally take this up and I'll go kiss it to my sanding center. So I'll just go to my sanding center, kiss it in. The cool part about these B-certs are they're aluminum, so the sanding center will just clean it up. You will get a perfect look on here, and it's not going to impact anything that you're doing. So you get that perfect look in on here. So I actually did that on purpose on this one, which is the one we're going to do tonight. I don't know, Dean, if you can zoom in on that one. Which camera am I going? This one? There we go. Can you see that there's a little bit of a, it's a very flat spot here. It's a very, yep, I see that. It's a very flat spot here. And all that was is because I kissed it to the sanding center. So Terry asked, what kind of glue am I using? 5-minute epoxy. I do everything, all this gluing for anything I'm going to do tonight, 5-minute epoxy. So does that make sense? So one other thing, though, that I want to be conscious of is that when I'm doing something like this, that's half wood, half acrylic, and I've got some wood in here, I typically want to drill in the part where the wood is sitting. If I was to drill in the acrylic part, you're going to see, you're really not going to see it, but you have that tendency, depending on the acrylic that you're using, that it might bleed through. So all pen makers, I'm sure you guys all know this, that if I was to do this and I'm drilling into the acrylic part, I'll actually paint the hole. And then that way, when I press that in, I'll have something there to reflect upon it. But for the most part, with the thickness that we have here, I don't worry about it. I'm more worried about making sure that I'm giving myself something really secure to hold this into. So far I don't see any other questions, so let's get on to the next step. So I love this mandrel system. If you have an Easy Wood chuck, they just came out with a new bottle stopping mandrel that fits right into their chuck. The mandrel looks like this, and it just came out, I think, within the last week officially. And this is a great mandrel for doing what we're doing tonight. But I'm going to use this mandrel system. Dean, if you could look this one up on the side and put it in. This is a mandrel that Ed does handle. So now I'm going to take that blank that I had up here, and I'm simply going to screw it in. Remember, this is a 3/8 inch screw on there, so I know it's going to work. But I don't care what anybody tells me on this other side. I'm always a little bit nervous about being able to turn this freehand, right? And that this will hold. It feels pretty secure if you come up here. You'll see that it makes this thing feel really secure that's sitting up here. But I like to take, we're going to talk about this thing a lot tonight. So I don't know if you can get a good picture of this one, Dean. Or if I switch to the other camera. Yeah. This turn between centers mandrel system. We're going to use this a lot tonight for a lot of different projects. So what I'll do is I'll take This is the head. This is the rotating center on this one. So when I spin it, but notice if I was to actually just put a live center in here and push the live center up, I'm going to get a dent. It's going to be a mark that I'm always going to have sitting on this side. And that would drive me crazy because I have to then sand it out. So I'm not going to use a live center at all on this side. What I want to do is I want to use this system, but there's no great way of securing it just this way. So if you get one of this system from Ed, when he gets it, he'll supply you with these 2 Delrin bushings. This is a Delrin set. And so what I'll do is I'll throw a couple little washers on there, put my Delrin set on there, and if I feel my finger here, you can probably see it on the camera, the bushing is still proud of the edge. And so when I push this up now, I've got a non-marring surface. Is it 3/8 inches long? And that's a 3/8 inch TPI. So it's set up for a 3/8 inch screw. It's just 3/8 inch screw.
16 TPI. There's 16 and there's 20 depending on whether you.
Okay.
So it's 16.
It's marked as 3/8. It's
That's right.
yeah.
It's the one that they use on all this stuff. But yes, there is a national course and a national fine, and this is a national course.
Yeah, this is UM 1.25 -8. So yeah, 8 TPI. Sorry about that. Yes, you are right. I apologize for that one. So I'm just locking it in. But now you can see I'm real stable here. And so I don't have to worry about anything. So I'm just going to be thinking about turning the handle. So I have been questioned in past areas about turning tools. I will tell you all that I use are carbide tools. I'm a huge fan of Easywood wood turning tools. Ed knows that I do a lot of demos for Chris and Christy, and he's fine with that. We're talking about it here. But I only use carbide tools. But just because people have asked, I will show that I can actually use a traditional tool just on this first one, and I'm going to round my blank off using a traditional tool.
I think that tool is big enough.
It's the only tool that I use. So all I'm taking, I'm doing gentle cuts because my tool rest is not long enough. I'm now going to move my tool rest over here. Speed is as fast as this lathe will go. I'm focusing on just driving things. And I kind of did this on purpose. I don't know if anybody noticed that when I was in the wood, this tool cut great. It could cut right across it very easily. When I get to 100% acrylic, it was a little bit tougher for me to manipulate. And so that's why I am going to switch back to my carbide tools. And I'm going to finish making this just using my carbide tools. And this is the traditional tool. Let's see what we can do. Speed, if anybody asks about the lathe speed, it's the fastest I can turn. So this one's 3,700 RPM. I've already tested that I know that. Well, let me talk about that real quick. If you're just starting, always make sure that you take the tool rest, pop it up to make sure that when I'm cutting, I'm at the exact halfway point. So that's high. So what I want to do is I want to get it so that I'm turning right at that exact halfway point. Take the tool. The nice thing about carbide, I hope you were streaming the front camera one time, Dean, and just watch. I love when I can get this perfect feel on it. Right here, I'm gonna hit my resin. The resin fall. That's what I love about carbide tools. I mean, look at that. That's one continuous stream.
Is that a negative rate cutter?
No.
Okay,
No. So that I will get to that one. Excellent question.
go ahead.
So Ed asked if it's a negative rate cutter. I like the traditional cutter. They do make the negative rate. If you're a little bit more cautious on doing resin or really, really hard woods, the negative rake is good. If you're just starting out and you find this a little bit of a challenge, here's what I tell everybody when I do my demos is cut it all the way down with this tool, get it so that you've roughed it down, then make your final cuts with the negative rake cutter. And if you're not familiar with the negative rake cutter, this is the negative rake cutter. Which camera do you want me on, Dean? Can we go on the side one? So this is the traditional cutter. This is the negative rake. And I'll try to hold still so the camera can focus. And you can see here that this rake on here is actually beveled backwards. That's going to give me a lot more control when I'm cutting across, especially when I'm doing this on hybrids. One of the things, and I am going to just tell you this infuriates me, when I look on YouTube and I look on Facebook and people like that tell you don't need the negative rake cutter because you can just take this cutter and bend it a little like this and achieve that negative rake cutter. That's not how the math works. And all you've done is to pre-flip the tool. Don't ever, ever, ever take one of these tools and don't keep it. This is the best way for it to cut. It's the maximum efficiency. And once you master this and do this cut, I'll tell you, I can't find a better tool out there than doing it with carbide. And my specific carbide of choice is the EasyWood tools. Do I have any questions out there?
EasyWood will tell you, and in Christie's demonstration, she shows that the best way to cut with their tools is to keep that bar absolutely horizontal. So those who are looking at it and saying, well, if I tip it 45 degrees, it'll cut a little different. Don't try to make a better tool out of the full tool that was made by the experts. Just follow their instructions and you will do very well. It's an easy tool to work with. I taught a guy to work with me for how to turn. We started with the EasyWood, and he was doing just magnificent work in 3 or 4 months. So, yeah, it's a very easy tool to use.
Do you have that? Could you help me just take a look and see if you can find the tool rest? Your new tool rest.
What?
Your new tool rest.
Oh, the flat one?
Yeah. I don't know where to put it. So
yeah, it's okay. You go.
Yeah.
Keep on going, and I'll.
So I've got this thing kind of down and round. So now I'm going to do my design on here. And so the nice thing about using this system, I'll find it when we take a break.
Go ahead.
The nice thing about using this system is that the screw on here, I can actually use a traditional bushing on here. So I've put a bushing on here that's going to give me the thickness of what I want to turn this down to. So I'm going to be able to curve and put a taper on it and then taper it back. And then the other thing is these bushings that are sitting down here, these Delrin bushings, are going to actually act as my bushing for actually finishing the turn down here. So let's finish that cut up. Lathe at the fastest that it'll go. People ask all the time, what's the easiest way to improve my my turn? It's just slowing down. Notice when I'm making that cut across the whole thing, I'm not putting a lot, I'm not going really fast. There's no contest in doing this. Is turn between centers just based on pressure holding it in? Is the turn between center? So the question is the turn between center based on pressure holding it in place? No. Yes and no. On this side, it's just holding it in place. On this side, remember, we put in that B-cert and we screwed it onto this part of the mandrel. So now all I did was I moved my tool rest down here, and I'm going to finish this side down. I'm going to use these Delrin bushings on this side to actually act as my bushing for where I want to taper this into. Now, I don't know if you guys could notice when I'm doing that. There's a significantly different peel on this one. Much thinner, much smaller. So I'm just trying to get it down so I can see where I'm going to be finishing it. And I'm basically done with my handle. A couple things I do want to mention, seeing if you want to go back to the front camera. When I'm actually doing my turning with this tool, I want to give you guys a little bit of a tip. Is that if you notice when I was doing my roughing and my first original cuts that are sitting out here, the tool was flat and I was going into it. So this part of the cutter head is taking a beating. That's the part that's taking the beating to get it down and round. Notice then when I got it down and I was round and I just wanted to then make those final passing cuts, I took the tool, same exact flatness, but I rotated it about 45 degrees. And when I was putting it in, now I'm using a fresh edge. And so that fresh edge is making those final little detail cuts, and that's what gives me this nice peel off here. But the other thing about it then is then when I go to rotate my cutter head, I'm going to rotate my cutter head counterclockwise. So then the part that was slightly hit now becomes the part that's going to be abused. Now becomes the part that's going to be really abused. It's this camera here. And then the fresh edge is going to be a brand new cutting edge for when I make that turn and I'm going to be going that way. Are you using negative rake carbide cutters? No, I don't. But as I said earlier, if you're just new to this and you want to go down and use carbide cutters and this half wood, half acrylic scares you or you're having a little bit of a challenge, go to the negative rake. Here's the difference in the negative rake. I'll show you. The negative rake is going to it's going to slow down my cutting a little. And that's perfectly fine. But it's going to give me a great finish on it also. So this is the negative rake cutter. Letting it come up to speed. So I don't know if you guys were able to tell, but the shavings that were coming off this, were slightly finer even than the ones that I had. I noticed you are a little proud of the bushings at the insert end. What should the diameter be at this top end? Oh, yeah, I would either go back. Sorry, yeah, now I get what you're asking. So you're saying that you're a little bit proud on this side? That's the beauty of doing this with the pizza cutter, and I'm going to talk about that in the middle in a minute. It really doesn't matter how close you're going to get to it as long as it's there. But I will go back and I will clean that. I would probably, on this one I would clean it up a little bit, and then some sandpaper would fully clean it up. But that's a great point. Thanks for catching it. If I'm doing this stuff at home, I'm going to take a little bit more time to get it to completely nail off and round it all off.
Well, and again, that's part of the design of your
and that's
really, I don't know when you want to talk about
going to do it right now.
Okay. The way you do it makes a lot more sense than worrying about go ahead.
So thank you for the lead in. So wait, is there any other questions out there? Negative rake is more of a scraping than cutting. I will just say this. I know that a lot of people say that. I tend to disagree a little bit. I mean, I agree with the concept that's what you're using it for, but I challenge anybody. I mean, it's still cutting. When I had these things streaming off, it was still streaming off, so it's still going through and cutting it. But I completely agree with you, TVC bushings. I agree with you 100%. Any other questions that I should have covered, Dean?
Okay, now, any other questions, Steve?
No, I don't think so. And I fixed the echo, I think, too.
Oh, did you? Thank you. Nope, we're good to go on.
So Terry asks, do you resharpen your carbide tools? That's another one of those big controversies that are all over YouTube on that one, that you could take your carbide cutters and sharpen them. You're never really sharpening them. At best, you're honing them. And all you're going to get is another 10, 15 minutes out of my carbide cutter. I take my carbide cutter, I rotate it 4 times around. Each time that I have that carbide cutter in, I'm getting between 20 and 40 hours on each side before I rotate it to the next side. So if I'm getting 40 hours, I've got 160 hours on that cutter head. I'm not going to try to hone it off and get a few more minutes out of it, simply because if I don't do it perfectly flat, it's not going to work. So I've talked to Chris and Christy on it. I think they'll tell you the same thing that I'll tell you is, while people say that you can take a carbide cutter and you could, hone it off and things like that, it's more of a myth. You're at best going to get no more than a few more minutes out of it. And so I don't want to do it, because the last thing I want to do is have done something and then feel bad when I actually try to cut and it doesn't go the way I want it to. So you can see here, I'm taking my cutter handle. It was pointed out a little bit earlier, if I would have gone just a hair more, I would have been perfectly fine on there. But there's my cutter handle, made for the pizza cutter. If you see it didn't, I would obviously go through my sanding steps and everything else. But, you know, I can knock one of these off. As I always tell people when I'm at home, I can knock off a whole pen in one 80s on 8 song. I can do this in one 80s on 8 song. I would go through all my sanding process and I'd finish it off. But as Ed pointed out, and I want to get into this, there's a lot to be said for design on a handle. And so the nice thing about doing this B-cert, and there was another question on it about hollowing things down. So if I was to do this handle, I'm doing this one specifically for a pizza cutter. Because I know what that bushing was. I know where I've got my thing set up. What if I wanted to make something? And the beauty of those B-certs are, it'll work on any of these 3/8 inch screwed in pieces. So what if I wanted to do one where I wanted to do this greater? Well, it's the exact same technique, right? I'm going to put it on this mandrel. I'm going to turn it on. What did I do, though, is to give me a universal handle here. I've actually taken this top and I've given myself a little bit of a lip and then cut this down. So now I've got a universal handle. So I've rounded this. Now someone's going to say, hey, Mark, there is a lot of skill involved in being able to round this. Hey, Dean, can we go back to that close-up angle? There's a lot of skill in turning that and getting that nice round, right? I mean, it's a pretty impressive round. But what if I told you there's not that much skill? You'd be disappointed in me. But what I do is the carbide cutter, the beading cutter, let me put it against black. Let's see if I put it against my hand. There we go. Can you see the beading cutter on here? Now watch. I'm going to give you my secret. All I did was cut this round.
There you go. That's perfect.
Got it in there. Then what this side did was just over the edge. This side, what I then did was use the parting tool to part it down here, and then I used the rest of my cutters to get there. What does this handle, jumping back, Dean? What does this handle get me? Well, this handle gets me that I could put on this device. I could put on this grater. If I want to unscrew this off, and I want to do a potato masher. All of these, I don't hate to say it, I'll just tell you. All of these are available at exoticblanks.com.
One of the things we get a lot of questions about that you're covering here, many people ask for instructions on the project kits. And understand that when you look at a project kit, for the vast majority of them, you can design a handle that's anything you want it to be. There's no reason why you have to match a diameter just because there's a diameter on the back of it. As Mark says, he can put 2 or 3 different tools on there, and all of them have different diameters. But because he's made this 1.5 inches or thereabouts in diameter, everything looks right. So, don't get stuck to the darn instructions. They are there for you to research and get a plan. But please don't get to the point where you're dedicated to them. You'll take away all of your artistic ability and takes away a lot of the fun of turning if all you're doing is following a set of instructions that were written in China.
So the cool part about it, you brought this up also, Ed, the only thing that I have to be conscious of when I'm making this handle as a pizza cutter or as the other grater is the maximum length that I have to drill that hole. Yep. So in this case, I know for a fact that this potato masher has got the longest. It's just ridiculous how far that hole has to go in for it. But what I'll do is I'll just drill that in. But now all these things like that other one here and this one here all fit into that same insert and it all works great. So all I'm going to do is kind of at this point kind of talk about how I've got this thing set up, how I did the drilling in here. The question came up about these inserts. These inserts are readily available already on Ed's website. You're just looking for BCert.
And he asked about brass.
They're phenomenal. And
That's not what
he asked about brass. I think your
Go ahead.
B-certs
Brass.
are all.
asked about brass. Is it a brass insert? The inserts that we're using are all aluminum. And yes, a brass insert similar would work.
I just don't know of them.
Yeah, there's just a ton of them out there. Some of them have got a exterior thread as well. I bought probably 20
I will
different
tell you.
designs.
Oh my gosh. I will tell you the ones with the exterior thread on them
Mhm.
are a nightmare if you're trying to put it in hardwoods.
Yep.
You have to over drill it because that's how this started. Right before I found these inserts, I was doing them with the old ones, and you have to over drill it, and then there's a little slot in it, and you have to use a bigger screwdriver to move it in. My God, that is a nightmare to do that one.
And
So
I used a similar device on my CNC, and in order to get it into the bed, you're using again another hex head to put it in. So yeah, there's a million kinds you can get. If you want to try to see if you can do something on your own, certainly feel free. But you'll find there's some real drawbacks. This is a pretty good device, and that's one of the ones that we sell.
All right, so a
Two
couple
more.
things on handles, and then I'm going to stop, and then I'll take all your questions. So hang on 1 second, and I'll stop, and I'll take them all.
Okay.
So this handle, I love this one, half wood, half acrylic, right? So earlier when I said, hey, you can do wood, the nice thing about this is you now know that if you're giving this to your mom or your sister or someone for a wedding, you know what their colors are. You know what their favorite colors are. You know what their kitchen colors are. You can either cast something that matches it. This half wood, half acrylic is a really nice thing to do with that one. If you're going to do something in wood, you can see here, I did it, and same thing, this was wood, but all I did was I gave myself 3 little loops using that, the beading cutter on there. And then the last one that I'm going to show you, and this is one of my favorites, is I gotta get all the dust off of these things. Spectraply. I think this comes out just really, really cool. So this is the Spectraply handle. Now, there is a trick to doing this one. Do you guys want to know the trick? I'm looking for someone to say, yeah, tell me the trick in the comments. So to do this one and to get this thing to line up perfectly, after you drill it, did someone say, yeah, tell me the trick? Yes, there you go. When you drill it, screw the insert onto the device that you're going to be putting on here. In this case, it is a pizza cutter. And then when you glue the insert in, glue it in so that you know where this piece is going to be. Right? Can you guys get that? So I glued this in so that this is all straight with where this line is going to be. So then this way, when I sculpt this at the end, these lines are going to bubble cut up so that I get them right at Does that make sense? Where I get them right where I have them. And if you say, hey, Mark, how'd you figure that one out? We'll just say that I've got one of these sitting at home where this is off at about 47.83 degree off of center on this one. So that's what I like to do. I like to make sure that I line it up before I glue it in. A couple other things that I want to talk about when I'm doing handles, and I learned a couple of these the hard way.
It's a good question. How do you prevent the cutter from being epoxied in? You're putting it all together.
Oh, excellent question. So that was a great question. How do I prevent the cutter from being epoxied in? So when I actually go to do it, I will put a little mark right up here with a black permanent marker. And then when I unscrew this off, or the cool part about these pizza cutters is you can unscrew the cutter head and then put a little bit of a line on there. And then once I know where that line is, then I know that it's fine. And then I just take this off.
Might also work to just put a piece of
Well, you know what?
wax paper behind it.
You know what? I just thought of something. Since I haven't done it on SpectraPly since, if you use the 12.5 millimeter instead of the half inch, once you press it in and you force it in and you've got it all lined up, you're not going to have a problem with that one. So that's an excellent question, and that's how I would solve it now.
Other questions?
One last thing on the pizza cutter handles that I want to talk about is...
There's another question.
There's a bunch of questions.
Let me finish this and I'll get to it.
All
Right, that's perfect. So I will tell you this, is the first time I did it, I thought, hey, boy, it would be really cool to put a little bit of an embellishment in here, like a spot where your thumb is going to go when you have it. Well, you can see here, I snapped it. And you can see where I snapped it when I was turning it. It snapped right where the end of the drill, because you can see there's not a lot of meat here anymore. And when did that happen? That happened actually when I was turning it all the way down at this end. And you can see what happened, obviously, is that there was pressure on this end and it snapped it over there. And just to prove how silly I am, after I did it exact second time on the next blank, I realized I got to do better at this than I did. So I will tell you this. If you want to put a dimple in here or do anything like that, take your handle, finish it all the way off. Turn it down to the edge. You can see right here, I was turning it down near here when that snapped, and that's what caused that to pop. Finish this all the way down, sand it all the way down, go through all your different kind of grit sandpaper. Once you get it perfectly smooth where you want it, then take your Easy Wood word turning tool, give yourself a little bit of a dimple in here, and then sand it. This way I'm only working here. I'm not working at anything that would want to cause this to snap. So if you want to do something like that and put that little thumb hole in there or the grip handle in there, that's the way that I would do it, is finish the handle off. And I've done it on, I don't think I have any other handles here, but I've done it on other handles that way. All right, so go ahead. Hit me with your series of questions.
Put these on, they're fixed. Everything is working well.
Okay.
So put that on and you'll be able to hear Dean.
Yep, things are good. So
Okay,
first,
Dean.
does Ed still have some tours? Is it just you?
No, go ahead.
So the first one is there's a couple of recommendations for Ed that there are people asking for a Pi server for the B cert. So that's
Pi server. Yep. Okay.
Pi server.
Okay.
Cool. So then the next questions I've got, let's see, let me scroll back up. Are there longer inserts for the longer threaded utensils? You want to re-describe again how you do an extra hole behind the inserts?
So you don't need the threads are fine for the longer. So I want to make sure that I'm very clear on this one. The insert is still the same insert. And the question really is, is there a longer insert that I could use? You really don't need it. Because once this is in there,
Drill the longer hole.
yeah, I just drilled a longer hole. That's all I did. Instead of putting that blue tape mark in there, I put the blue tape mark to incorporate the longest thing that I'm in here. But remember, and I hate to talk physics on this, but is that if this part is touching this part, it's going to be real physics can you tell I'm an engineer and actually studied particle physics at one point? Is that now I've got more surface area touching more surface area. So any force that's exerted up here on the cutter handle is going to be exerted across the whole diameter of this piece that's sitting in here. So I really don't need a longer insert. So short answer to the question, no, I don't know of a longer insert, but longer answer is I don't know any need for putting a longer insert on here. That's going to hold it in there, and it's pretty sturdy.
So I think you just also answered Eric's question because he said, "Do you think putting pressure on the cutting while cutting pizza might snap it?"
So I will tell you this. I hate to say it this way. I have sold, I think literally. Well, Ed could tell you better off than I have because I buy all my cutters through Ed. But I've probably bought 300 to 400 cutters from you over the last couple of years. Yeah, Ed says about 400 cutters. I have not had anybody tell me that it is. Now, remember, the flip side of that is that when I'm doing the pizza cutter, I am only creating a handle specifically for that pizza cutter. So I'm only drilling in that little bit, putting that little insert into it, and the only part that's going to exert any pressure on there is this little piece that's sitting in there when I do my pizza cutter handle.
From the point of view of physics, when you bring that down and it's sitting on that shelf that you made, essentially, it's not exactly the same diameter, but it actually gives you a better support because it's wider, doesn't it?
You can cut it down to the exact same diameter, but I want to make sure that, yeah, I agree with you 100%. I want to make sure that diameter is at least right up at least to that point that's sitting in there.
It makes it a stronger tool.
Yeah. It does.
And it gives you the ability to make a bigger diameter at the top where your stress is actually going to be.
And, okay, so there's a lot of people from out of town on this one. And everybody will go, why do I need a pizza cutter that big of a handle? I want all the Chicagoans to chime in about Lou Malnati's deep dish pizza, any of the Lou Malnati's pizzas. That extra handle, it's always great. And you know what? The extra handle gives you a little bit of something to put some color in and to put some shape in and to actually do something with it. So any other questions about,
Eric,
so I will, one last thing I want to talk about. Give me one more second, Dean, is finish on those things. So when I'm done with that, on there and I've got my pizza cutter handle, and let's say that I would have taken this one down and I sanded it down, I will put 2 coats of shellac on it. I literally get the yellow can of shellac from Home Depot, let it dry overnight, put it back on my lathe, it's 4/0 steel wool on it, and then I'm sure everybody's going to know what my finisher choice is. My finisher choice is Lacquer Shot. And I will spray it all off then with 3 to 4 coats of Lacquer Shot. The beauty of Lacquer Shot is that you can literally put this on every 10 minutes. One thing I forgot to bring, I might have it here, but I'm not gonna look for it, is if you do a lot of these, go to Home Depot and get yourself some 3/8 inch eye bolts. And then what I'll do is I've got a board where I've got nails nailed into it. I'll put a 3/8 inch eye bolt in it. I'll pull the eye bolt, spray it with lacquer, spray it with whatever I want, hang it on that nail, put the next one up, hang it on that nail, and they all just sit there and dry. So it's the easiest way to do something like this. I love how these come out. I love the finish on these things. It's a great way of making something that, if you asked me and you wanted to compare, and I had, give me one more second here.
Which is good. They asked the finish question, so you just answered the one that I was going to ask next anyway.
So if I had this one that I'm going to give to someone as a gift, or one of these two that I'm going to give to someone as a gift, it's always one of these two. You know, I can do your favorite baseball team colors, your football team colors, any of this stuff that Spectraply has. If you cast yourself, you can do any of the castings. I think Dawn has got some blanks here that you can see she cast. I love Dawn's blanks for pizza cutters.
Oh, those are the
Because-
giveaway.
Oh, are
One
they?
of them. That's gonna be one of the
nice.
giveaways.
She always does what I kind of ask is put a big chunk of wood on one side. So you can see here, there's enough of a chunk of wood on one side. This one is completely clear, but this one's got a nice chunk of wood on here. And so I can drill into that, turn it all down, and then that way I don't have to worry about painting or concealing anything. So go ahead, Dean, more questions?
Couple more on your finishing process.
Sure.
First question is, do you spray them while they're on the lathe?
No. So I'll put them on the eye bolt, as I said. I'll hold them up. I'll spray them on there, hook them up on the nail, come back literally 10 minutes later, hook it, unhook it, spray it. I'll let it sit for 24 hours. And then what I'll do is I'll put it back on the lathe, screw it on here, and then I will take 4/0 steel wool. You know, the thing about lacquer shot is I don't know about you, Ed, but I really don't have to go through that steel wool process. Most of the time, the finish is phenomenal as is, but I'll put it on there, and then I might do micro mesh, but never starting at the first one. I start at maybe the fourth or fifth one in, wet sand it, and then take it over to my BO buffing system, and I get that. You saw the different handles I have. That's the finish I get on them. Something well, go ahead. Go ahead.
You just answered the do you sand in between coats because you really don't. You talk about
No.
it after what. The other person that asked was why do you do the 2 coats of shellac first? Why not just start with lacquer shot?
All right, I'm going to tell you the truth. Is the can of lacquer shot's $24, and the finish is fantastic. The first 2-3 coats I'm going to put on don't matter to me because I'm just using it as a base to seal up the pores. Shellac is $11 a can, $12 a can. So I'm going to spray it with shellac, and I'm going to let that go into the pores and seal it all up so I can put my perfect finish on top of it. It's strictly a financial thing. I know that I've talked to Rick about this a lot. You can use lacquer shot, but I'm going to do 3 coats, and I'm going to save that perfect finish for the final 3 coats that I have on that.
Quick question, and then I'm going to go back to one that we missed a little earlier that I think I need to help clarify. The quick one is, do you use all 3 wheels on your BL?
No. You know, that's the weird thing about that BL buffing system. You know, when I was younger, I bought it, and I thought, boy, that's really cool to have it with all 3 wheels. I don't think I use anything but the Carnauba wax on the rightmost wheel. Yeah, I don't. I use the rightmost wheel, and that's it. I never use those first 2 wheels.
So going back
so
to
if I could sell you my first 2 wheels, I'd put it on eBay and sell you the first 2 wheels.
Nice. So going back to Eric's question about the pressure, if you want to grab your multi-purpose handle you made.
Which one?
The multi-purpose one.
This one.
What his question I think comes to play because he says the thinner part on the multi-purpose handle. Are you worried about that part breaking off? The thinner bead part, but if you push on it when doing pizza or something like that,
I am not. And I can't tell you the physics why I'm not, other than I know that no one has actually brought it back to me ever and talked to me about it. There's enough meat sitting in here, I think, but I honestly wish that I could tell you a very good technical reason for it. I am not, because if I do it this way and I've got this lip. Remember, this lip is now taking force on it also.
Want a very good technical reason why?
Please.
Because the new cutters are sharper than they have ever been.
Oh, the pizza cutter handles are
so
ridiculous.
So you talk about you used to have to push down like there was no tomorrow. You're absolutely right. Now you push down like that and you'll cut through the board. So yeah, it's a different type of cutter. The ones that they're making now are much, much nicer than the ones that I used when I was doing shows. And there's nowhere near as much stress on the handle because you're not pushing nearly as hard.
Any other questions, Dean?
Nope, I think we're caught up.
Okay.
We're at 7 o'clock. Do we want to do the first giveaway?
Good plan.
Yeah, because I'll be setting up for doing my next project.
Which one do
So-
you want to do? You want to do the
Let's do the three. Let's do the three we just showed. Want to show those back on camera again?
Sure, absolutely.
Give me a second to start up the giveaway.
What you did with it?
That other
There's
tool
more.
rest.
There's more.
So one of the things I do want to mention while you're doing the giveaway, is Ed brought this out last time, and I was waiting to come up here this time to pick up one for myself. This is a new tool rest. Ed, do you want to talk about the tool rest and where you got it?
Sure, I'll be happy to. Yeah, they're tool rests that, if any of you, well, most of you, I think, are on IAP. You know that there's a very advanced machinist there, Rick Harrell. And so I talked to Rick and I said, I see that you've got these. Would you mind if Exotics handled them? And he said, no, he wouldn't mind at all. So the good news is we now have them. And what is this? It's a flat top that will go on your normal banjo and fit in where your normal tool rest would be, except that this is flat. So if you're using carbide tools and you're supposed to keep them flat, you have the opportunity to just lay it on there and you will always have a flat surface. Now, there's two components to this. You have the flat surface itself, which he is making for us in 3.5 inch or 5.5 inch. I will tell you that this one is custom made for a customer. So it shows you that you can get them pretty much any way you want them made so that it will fit into your lathe properly. This is the much more normal size, but there are two components to this, and I want to try to make it fairly clear. This is screwed in pretty good. This is obviously the post. The reason I bring this one, it fits into my Powermatic lathe. It's a 1-inch post. The standard posts that are available are apparently 1 inch or 25 millimeter, which is extremely close to 1 inch. So if you decide you want one of these, you'll get probably an email from me asking for lots of information that's accurate. First one is, what is your true diameter? That's the first thing you need to know. And then the other half of it is, here's the part that goes across there. And this one is obviously the 3.5 inch. This piece, the 1-inch piece, also for other lathes will be 5/8 of an inch. I mention that now because this screws into the top like so. And as you can see, it screws in easily. So that takes care of getting the two components that you will need for here. If you have a 3/8 inch hole here, the components are the same type, but they are a different size, including that bolt. So if you have the 1 inch and you have a 3.5 inch top for it, and then you get one for your jet lathe, as I did, and try to put the same 3.5, it will not work. The 5/8 inch uses a smaller, he designs a smaller bolt on there. So those are the components that go into it. I've been using it a little bit. I don't do a lot with carbide tools. Mark does a tremendous amount with carbide tools, and so after he uses it for a while, we'll have a better idea of what it's like and how he likes it. So if there are any questions, and obviously I'm not going anywhere, I will be here to answer them, or Mark can answer 99% of them, I'm sure. So thanks for listening. And there's the stuff for the giveaway, which I see on camera. Does a wonderful job cutting it off so you can't see them. There is one of the blanks. And that's the one that's pretty much translucent or transparent all the way through. This is the orange blank. Okay, how about there? If I looked at where the camera was, it would help. There we go. These are 6 inches long and just under 2 inches. And there are 3 of them. And Dean will take care of telling you who's going to win them. And I will let Mark get back to what he does. Thanks for listening.
So, Mark, TBC helped. I think there was part of a question or part of your talk that I missed. What Eric says is, what TBC says is, Eric is concerned that when you were turning the handle, it broke. He's worried about the force of a pizza cutter breaking it in the same spot. And I must have missed that you had a handle break.
Oh yeah, I showed that. I showed that I had that one. But you know what? I know you guys are. These are all very great, legitimate questions on it. But I do want to make sure that I cover on when the handle broke. The handle broke when I had it here, and I was putting all the extreme force here, trying to round this over. And so you can see here the difference in that and the pizza cutter, right? Is if this was trust me, I am just trying to be as transparent and open and honest as I can be on it. If I was to do that and I had a pizza cutter, the pizza cutter is just going to come off the pizza. This was because it's holding it here, and I was putting extreme force on rounding this over, that's what caused that to happen. So I can completely respect what you guys are saying. If you don't want to put the dimple in there, I completely understand that one. All that I can tell you is I've gone through 400 or so of those pizza cutters, and I have not had anybody complain to me. And at my shows, as Ed knows, or anybody who's ever been to my show, I offer 100% lifetime guarantee on all the stuff that I do. Even my pens. People can come back to me, and if there's ever an issue in anything that I do, there's 100% lifetime guarantee on it. So the long story short, I respect the question. Best I can tell you is I've never had a problem. And just to summarize, is when I have a fixed point here and I'm putting pressure here, it's basically doing this, right? If I don't have a fixed point here and I'm going with my handle, all that can happen is that the handle will come off the pizza.
Eric says, enough of that one. So we obviously got
that's fine.
There, so we're good.
If there's one thing that I can do is beat a question to death.
Sarah is our winner of the 3 blanks. I am not going to try and pronounce her last name because I will kill it. But Sarah, if you want to drop a note off to sales at Exotic Blanks, we'll make sure to get those out to you.
It's not the one from Chicago.
Yeah. Sarah. And the nice thing about it is if you want to ever meet Sarah, when you come to the Midwest Pen Turners Gathering and you go to the front desk and you see Donna, who's my wife, the woman sitting next to her the entire time is Sarah. So the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to make an ice cream scoop. These are some of the ice cream scoops that I made. Same, half wood, half acrylic. This is the iScoop 5 or Scoop 5. Yeah. This is the Scoop 5.
Sideways.
Yeah. This way?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what I'm saying.
So we're going to talk about how I make these. One last one.
Yeah, that's it, Dean. Back up a bit. Good job.
I love making these, and the cool part about them is you're going to see that we can knock them off pretty quick. So because of time, I was going to actually chuck the drill press back up and drill this blank and do all that stuff. Can we all just agree that we learned how to put the chuck on there? We knew how to chuck it up. We learned how to tape off the drill bit on the other end so that I could drive it into where I needed to drive it in. So as long as we have that, I've got a blank that I've already pre-rounded and put the holes in. Now, the nice thing about this iScoop 5, no inserts. So all I'm going to do is, for those of you who are familiar with pen turning, this is just a big pen. That's all we're going to make, and that's what I love about this thing. These are the turn between centers mandrel system, which is, where's the red box? I don't know if, Dean, you want to zoom in on it, or do you want to go to this monitor? This is the turn between centers mandrel system. And I love this. The nice thing about this is we're not going to turn between centers. We are, but we're not. If this gives me the ability now to take any diameter, any length, any length handle that I want to put in there, and just turn it. So I can take this handle here, and I'm not going to do a lot of turning on it because the turning is basically going to be the same thing that I just did. But I want to get that. I'm going to talk a little bit about assembly. Go ahead, Dean.
Before you turn on the lathe, I just wanted to make two commentary here. One, Ed, that somebody said you just showed all the flat top tool rests, but they're showing out of stock. When will they be back available?
When I put them back in, I should have gotten that done first.
Yep.
Go ahead.
And then number two, Mark, Sarah says that she thinks that she can use delivery by Mark for her prize.
Oh, yeah, we can do that. Yep, delivery by Mark is no problem. All right, so we're going to basically do the same thing, but now what we've got is we've got bushings. So all we're going to do is we're going to turn between bushings. So let's crank this up. Tool is going to be level. It's going to be flat. One thing I do want to mention, I don't know if I mentioned it on the last one. Because I am demoing here, when I'm at home, this is really important to me, and I'm sincere about this one. I will always be wearing an N95 mask. Even when I have it under my face shield, I'll always be wearing an N95 mask. And if you ever come to the MPG or ever see me talk live, you'll hear the overwhelming laughing joke that I have about wearing N95 mask. So this tool rest is just a little short for doing what I'm doing, so I got to just move it and adjust it. Notice now when I get to these legends, I'm still getting those real nice peels out of it. One more cut here. I'm just going to move my tool rest down. I got to tell you, I have the slightly bigger Powermatic lathe. I love these things. I love the variable speed on this stuff. So now I'm just going to finish this a little bit off. I'll tell you, if you do a lot of turning at home, I have a vacuum system and I've got a head that I put right up on here. So I don't have to go through this part here all the time. Now I've taught the introduction to pen making class numerous times all over the place. I teach it at the MPG. I've taught it at the AAW. I've taught it numerous times. One of the things that I always teach and I advocate is right now I'm proud of the bushings. I'm proud of the bushings here about 1/8 of an inch on this side. I'm proud of the bushing on this side, maybe about 1/8 of an inch. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to round both sides, and I'll explain it in a minute. So let's get it over here. I'm letting the tool find it. When I'm on that bushing, right, I've got a little bit more tolerant, a little less tolerance, more tolerance, less tolerance in doing this because I'm trying to turn it to the bushing as opposed to the pizza cutter where I could have had a flare at the end and no, you wouldn't have noticed. So now, if you notice on here, there we go. If you notice on here, this is dramatic. It's got a loop at both ends. Well, I do that on purpose because I see so many people when they're making a pen or making something like this and you're trying to turn it down to that exact bushing, you keep cutting and cutting and cutting till you make one extra cut too less and you go underneath the bushing. This way, I've now prevented that, right? I found my bushing and I've rotated it up this way. I found this bushing and rotated it up this way. Now all I got to do is work this area, the area between here and here. And so I can cut this down to whatever profile I want, whatever taper I want, and I never have to worry about undercutting my bushings again because I've taken it down to where I want on the bushings. I'm going to do it from over the top. I let the tool find the end, and I simply pulled it back in and pulled it back out a little. Over here, I let the tool find right at the end, and I pulled it back out and pulled it back in. That's why I love these carbide tools. And if I only had one carbide tool, and you're only going to get one, if you're only ever going to get one, this tool does 99% of everything that I do. So, well, except the beading and stuff like that, that's the other cutters. But if I only had one, this is the tool that I love. So you can see here, I've got the cutter. I've got this thing basically formed my way out. I'll make one more cut on it. Because I noticed I was a little proud to it. Dean, you want to come back to the front? When you're turning this, as I said, even when you're turning a pen, I ask a lot of times, where are you looking? And I think most people will say that they're looking where the tool is actually meeting the wood or whatever they're turning. I'm not. I'm looking all the way across on the other side. I'm watching that profile develop on the other side. You'll see that your turning will become 10 times better if instead of focusing where the tool is, and you're going to get little dips and curves because you're focusing on the tool, focus on the other side. Watch your profile establish itself on the other side, and your turning is going to become much, much better. So I've moved my tool rest down. I'm just going to finish this cut. And my final comment's going to be, I think it's a pretty good looking handle. And I hate to say this because Sarah will go tell Donna. But as I said, we do probably a couple hundred ice cream scoops all the time too. Donna does the turning on most all of these. So all the ones that I showed you, please, I am not taking credit for the ones that I showed you. My wife did all the turning, finishing, and sanding on all that stuff. The only thing she won't do is shoot it. And so what I'll do to put the finish on it, on this one, I take just sticks. I'll put a stick up into it like this and hold it up like this. I'll spray it with shellac, let it sit on the stick. Then I will come back in, 4/0 steel wool, and then I'll do my 3 to 4 coats of lacquer shot, and I'm done. So any questions on making an ice cream, doing the handle? Now we're going to do the hard part, but I wanted to do the handle. Dean, was there any questions on doing the handle?
No questions on that. There is other couple questions in the feed though. So first one for you is the lightweight Turner's jacket you're wearing available for sale.
The lightweight Turner's jacket that I got, they do sell them at the AAW. I have mine because I was a demonstrator there this year. So I was able to get mine with the embroidery on it. But I think that I was just talking to, funny that you asked that, because I literally was talking to Ed that I would like to see them start to carry some smocks for Turners.
We would like to. It's just a matter of finding one that's good quality and doesn't break the bank.
So a couple things when you are looking for a smock, you're looking for short sleeves. Mm-hmm. You're looking for something that's lightweight on it. And if you can have it embroidered with your name on it, or if you want to have it embroidered with my name on it, you can let me know. Just kidding.
All right. 2 more for Ed. Number 1, Ed Martin asks, any chance the flat top tool rests could be made 6 inches long for a 1-inch post?
Yes, they can be customized to anything your little heart desires. It takes about 2 weeks for me to get custom. I got 3 of them that are sitting there now that I ordered last about 2 weeks ago. So yes, this is not, you don't have to take what we have, and by the way, they're back in stock miraculously. So, you know, that is a project that we're working on, and we will develop it more. But yes, anything your little heart desires, we can make happen.
And then I assume that if there's something they want now, to just email sales at Exotic Blanks.
Yeah, ideally email me, because there's a picture that shows you what dimensions we're looking for so that it fits. And I sent that out to everybody that had ordered them. I think we sold like 15 or so, and only 2 were not right. So we're doing the best we can to try to keep the shipping back and forth to a minimum. But yes, you do have to have the dimensions right, because quite clearly your height from your banjo to the pen blank or whatever blank has got to be right. So,
yeah, it's got to be at least to be able to fit down here enough and take you to the center of wherever you're at. You'd never be above center on any tool that you're using, but at least to the center. And the center is actually too much. You could be always, every tool will be a little under, but I agree with you 100%.
And they point out, somebody pointed out to me, well, there's a hole that goes all the way through, so it really
No.
doesn't matter.
Yeah, it does.
You have to make them understand that you're going to hit the wings if it goes underneath there. So yes, it is important that we get the right dimensions. So, and somebody else asked, I think you have this thing.
Yep. So
Go ahead.
I assume you've got the ice cream scoop.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So David asks if there's an ice cream scoop that works with the B-certs, and the little birdie told me you've got it to show.
Yes, and Mark has miraculously found it.
And well, I'm trying to find the handle.
It's actually two pieces. It's the bolt, which is two different dimensions. One end fits into the B-cert, and the other end fits into the head. And Mark is now demonstrating exactly how easy this all is. And Dean will give you the link to which one that is. It's called the, okay, thank you, sir. Who says we're not organized? Of course, we have to run and do it now, but organized.
Hey, I'm telling you, I mean, that makes a nice, and that's the beauty of this handle, right? If you're, and I hate to tell you what you guys are doing if you ever want to compete against me at an art show or whatever, but having a set of these handles lets the person pick the handle, lets them pick the color that they want, whether they want, very specific wood, and then they get to pick the accoutrement or accoutrements that they're going to put on top of it. So the other big thing about this, and this is a significant advantage that I forgot to mention, but I do want to mention this because people ask me about this all the time. The nice thing about this series with the screw on, screw off type thing is if this gets pretty dirty, you screw this off, throw this right in the dishwasher, and you don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that this handle stays separate. The handle can't be dishwashed, but the tops can definitely be dishwashed. Normally, I tell people to just rinse it underwater, and the finish is going to be fine on it. But I will tell you, with these screw tops on here, big difference. Someone likes the purple handle. Thank you.
You're good to continue, I think, Mark.
So I've kind of talked about the different handles that we can do. Now, though, the question is, I got this ice cream scoop, right? And I gotta finish it, and I gotta assemble it. So I want to show you. We asked about it on the pizza cutter. So this is an ice cream scoop, and I'm sure Sarah will tell Donna that he showed off one of the ice cream scoops you did, Donna. This is an ice cream scoop. And it's already had its glue boost on it, and I put it on, and I knocked a couple coats off of it with some 4-aught steel wool. So I've taken 4-aught steel wool, put it on, knocked it off a little bit. Now, if you're familiar with the way that, I think most of us finish pens, we're going to do the same thing. These are the 4-inch micro mesh pads. Let's see if we can bring a shine back up on this. Dip some in water. I got a little water behind me that I'm just dipping it in. Now, I was waiting. Nobody has any questions in the comment about this. But what I'll typically do on these is, and I just forgot when I was doing it, to be honest with you, is I'll rotate this. And now every other one I'll go with the grain. Then I'll go against it. Then I'll turn it back on. Mine's on the headstock.
You can move it. It's magnetic.
Yeah, I know. I'm just going to do the last three for the sake of demo. Then I'm going to do it this way. And you don't have polish, do you? Like Novus 2 or something. You know, I don't think I needed that. You can see that I built up a nice finish on here. I would normally use, behind the curtain here is Novus 2 polish. I put on some Novus 2 polish, but it basically really shined this up. But the final thing that I want to show you is how do you do the assembly on one of these things? And so we'll take this one. What I would normally do.
Before you go to assemble,
Sure.
Marcus asked, would the micro mesh steps you just did come after the lacquer shot?
Yes. Yes. It's just to bring the shine up into the lacquer shot. Here, can we go to this camera?
Yep.
Can you see the line? The reflection line? That I love the fact that I can get that kind of finish. Literally in 5 coats or 4 coats of shine on it. I'm not going to waste it on it, but here, let me show it to you. It's another good one.
That is a beautiful hybrid blank.
Thank you. That one's my own. I use the red one. This is the green. This is for heavy scratch, but I like to use the red one. But the Novus polishes are the ones.
Yeah.
So go ahead. Was there any other questions, Dean?
Nope.
All right. So I need. Do we have something flat? Can I just have a board on here? Just 1 second.
Cover it.
No, just something I can. Yeah, that'll be fine for white things.
It's going to be too big.
No. I'm just going to use it as a table.
That's fine. Do whatever you want to with it.
I don't want to lose the parts.
Just to cut off.
Yep. So now I want to show you how to do the assembly on this. And we do have one more project after this, so stay tuned.
And one more giveaway.
Oh, we got one more giveaway too. I am going to save the bags because I'm not going to actually glue right now because I don't want to have to carry this home to Chicago this way.
Just an FYI, mark for time check at 7:35.
Yeah, we're fine. So on this, yeah, go down there, Dean. On this, I think this is PK Scoop 5.
Yep.
So you put one of the rings on that side, 2 of the rings on this top. Where's my handle? The handle that's on there. And what I'll do is, I find that this is just the easiest way of doing it. Dean, can we go back out? Basically, a clamp, Craftsman clamp that I've got, kind of get it down to where I want it to be. Then what I will do is I will mix up 5-minute epoxy. I'll put 5-minute epoxy in the hole. So then this way, if I put it in, it's just I'm not gonna have to worry about anything. 5-minute epoxy in that hole. 9 times out of 10, it's gonna be fine just sitting there like that. But what I'll do is I'll just simply put it in here, crank it down. But just and I'm real weird about it. I like to have the half wood, half acrylic, so you see it match up. Now I'll simply just go put this on the side, come back 2 to 3 hours later, and this is done. Fully assembled. I don't have to worry about this because this is now, I'm sure, is flat on this side. I know that it's flat on this side because it has to be, because that's what this clamp is doing for it. So just one of the things that I've picked up over the course of the years. The nice thing about it is these little pads on here, there's enough give in it that they will, I don't want to say deform, but they'll deform just enough to keep this in there pretty solid and stable and be able to hold enough pressure on everything. So any questions on my ice cream scoop?
Nope.
No?
Nope. Harold's giving up typing. He's trying to type, but he's giving up.
So a couple things I want to talk about. I got one more thing that I want to do that I'm really someone asked me, actually literally texted me yesterday about this one, is, and I'll show you what I'm going to do, is if you want to do a handle, where's the chunk of maple that I had? Oh, it's got to be right here, right? Yep. You want to do a handle out of something like this maple? As Emerald would say, if I want to kick it up a notch, I'm going to put a little trans tint on and color it. And can we go to this one, Dean? So this is trans tint on the handle. And I'm going to show you how I do that coloring on that handle. But before I do that, and we do that last giveaway, if you notice, people, if you notice, I now have, because of all the different parts that I'm using and everything else, a couple things I want to bring up. I just pick up a fishing tackle box. And I've got all my bushings in here. And I took a black marker, so I know this is the PK Scoop 5, which is the one that we were doing earlier. When I do those, I'm going to give you a little bit of a hint. We're going to be using a lot more of this box over the course of the next 3 weeks. So I've got all the different bushings for some of the other stuff that I do in here. On the back side on this one, I will have all my drill bits in here marked off. This is the mandrel system that I've got sitting in here. These are some of the more obscure drill bits that I use. The B-certs are sitting over here in this pocket. The Delrin bushings are sitting up here in this pocket. If you're going to do this, you may want to consider picking up, as you're doing this. This works great for pens, too. You can have, I've got one of these at home just for the basic pens that I do all the time. So I've got the Vertex Supremes, and I've got that one and sitting in a thing. I've just got them all in here. So if you're looking at how you do all your storing for your bushings, pick yourself up a couple of these fishing tackle boxes. I think they work great. The other question that someone asked me the last couple of days too is all the instructions, and what do I do about all the instructions? I've got a 3-ring binder that I have at home, and all I did was I got those, they used to call them report covers, where they've got the plastic that you could stick a couple pages in it, and they've got the 3-ring holes on it. I think it's called a report cover. And I just got a 3-ring binder, and once I print out instructions, which, as I just said, 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to use the instructions anyway. I'm just going to do what I want with it. But if I want to keep the instructions, I've got them all in a nice binder, and I've got them all sitting up that one. Yeah, Document Protector. Thank you. Thank you, Billy. So it's called Document Protector. So that's just a couple of sides of some of the stuff that I had and I wanted to mention. So the last thing I want to talk about. Oh, do you want to do the last giveaway?
Okay.
I was just going to suggest that. Awesome.
What a salesman.
And just in case, Sarah, just so you remember, those that one blank that you won, I'll make sure that I drop it off at your house. Just the one that you won.
So the next giveaway is 3 turning blanks. These are 12 inches long and 2x2s, right, Ed?
2x2s, except the spalted timber is just a little shy of that. It's about 1.8 by 1.8.
So the 3 blanks are the Spalted Tamarind, a Bacote, and the Patriot Spectraply.
Correct.
And for the second giveaway, type the word turn.
These are 1 foot long, so basically you're getting 6 handles. Cut them in half, they'll be 6 inches long. Bet you didn't know that.
So if I cut them 4 inches long, would I get 3?
You might.
Okay.
You might. Could happen.
I'm going to move these over just to here.
You can take them off there if you want to.
Yeah, could I? Would you mind?
Sure. Just wanted to show you what you're getting.
Should really lock the base before we do that.
Yeah.
Any questions about? Well, let's let Dean finish this. As I'm preparing, because this last one, it's going to get a little messy, possibly. So, I don't want to mess up this beautiful Powermatic lathe. So I am going to put some coverage on it.
I have soap, I have water, and I have acetone, so don't worry too much.
Dean, let me know when you're.
I think we're about ready that you could do this. So this is a question for both Ed, Dawn, and Mark that Sarah just put in.
Yes, I can pick it up if it's okay with them. And yes, Sarah, I will tell you this. If they won't pick it, I'll go pick it myself.
There you go. Got your answer.
It's kind of
Sarah.
fun. I came over today and I probably picked, I don't know how many orders. Probably a lot.
100, 150, something like that.
At least 4. At least
Well,
4
that
orders.
might be a little closer, but yeah.
So let me know when we can start, Dean.
Go for it. I'll announce the winner in a minute.
No, go ahead. We can wait.
Yeah, you might as well keep going.
Okay.
Boring watching nothing.
All right. So now I want to make the handle I showed you, where I've got trans tint on this. But I'm going to do it with just 2 different colors. I'm going to do, basically a red alone or a red and black. So what I like to do is I've got the blank. And I'm going to be completely transparent about this. I learned this technique I am not laying claim to. I just do it. I learned this technique from, go ahead.
Our second winner is Jody Green.
I learned this technique from Jimmy Close. I took a class out in Vegas, I'm going to say about 10, 12 years ago. If you ever get a chance to take a class with Jimmy, he is phenomenal. So I learned this technique from Jimmy, so we're going to just apply it here. So I'm going to start with is just a simple, what do you think this is, Ed? Maybe a $2 piece of maple?
If that.
Might be $1 piece of maple. And we're going to do something that nobody else in the booth next to you has or something different. So I'm simply going to take denatured alcohol and I'm going to get a fair amount on my blue paper towel, and I'm just going to rub it in. And I'm only going to do this on half the blank so you can see this thing's going to work itself out. I'm going to put a little bit more out on there. The denatured alcohol is basically going to do two things. It's going to clean the blank for me. And the other thing that it's going to do, it's going to seal up the pores, which is really important. If you do this trans tint and you don't seal up the pore, it's going to be blotchy. That's all that I'll tell you. It will be blotchy. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to just do half and half. I'm going to take black, and I want to give myself a black undercoat. And as I was looking out today, I see the person who asked about this is actually on the call today. So that is nice to see that. So here's black trans tint. Can you zoom in on this, Dean? This is trans tint, black. And then I'm going to do trans tint, bright red. This first step of doing the color blend, purely optional. But I want to show you what the difference is when I do it.
Mark, did you say you also wanted white?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
I thought that.
Nope. So I'm just going to, I take the top completely off. Then I just take my paper towel, blue paper towel, prop it up on there, and just going to rub it in. And I'm only going to do half the blank. You'll see a big difference on this as to what I do it. So I'm going to let it sit on there and I'm going to let it dry. So if you ever see Jimmy do it, he actually takes a lighter and put the flame to it and stuff like that. OSHA standards and ED standards tell me he's not letting me do that. So now I'm going to take, what is this? 240 grit sandpaper. And I'm going to sand the majority of this off. And you'll see why in a minute. Is if I... it's still kind of...
Still wet.
No, it's dry.
Is it?
Yeah. I'd probably go to a slightly higher sandpaper. See, when you come over to a professional studio like Ed, he doesn't need the 100 grit sandpaper, and I forgot to bring some. So,
Unfortunately, that's true.
yeah, it is.
He asked for 100 grit, and what do you do with that? Apparently, there is a use for it. I've never used it. Oh, not in the last 10 years.
My attitude is if I had 80 grit and used it, as long as I'm having fun and smiling when I'm done, that's all that matters to me. So you can see here I probably would take off a little bit more of the black, but you'll see why I'm doing this one. And then on this side, I'm going to keep just a natural color here. No. Excellent question. No, I've never tried it. Sorry. Yes, it's completely turned, completely sanded. If you want to actually see this technique it's okay to promote.
Sure.
if you actually want to see this technique fully done, start to finish, if you go to 10 Minutes to Better Pen Making, I've got 3 videos on coloring pen blanks. This is one of them. I've got using the Glue Boost tints on there as another one. And then I forgot what my third technique is, but I've got another technique on there for how to color pen blanks. All right, so can you see? I got it there, and then I kept this part open. So where did I put my red? Right up here. So this is going to be the red. I know a lot of people will dilute the colors and stuff like that. I think you dilute it. I don't. I like going with the pure color on here. So I'm simply going to just take it, and then I'm going to rub it in. So I could put more red on there if I want. If I'd have taken off a little bit more of that black, which is probably something I would have really liked to have done, I would have gotten a little bit cooler color on that one. But the key to this now is to blend, right? This isn't that bad because I've only got 2 colors on there. Let's say that I did like that one where I had the this thing where I put my base color was blue. Oh, there we go. My base color was blue. Then I spotted on some green in different spots. And then I spotted on some yellow in different spots. I want something that's going to blend these colors. I don't want to be, see on here, the black, it's pretty stark in terms of the color gradation versus the red. So in this case, I'm going to take a spray bottle of the same, distilled alcohol. And now I'm just going to take it and I'm going to spray it. And then I am going to wipe it a little bit. Can you see how that blended the black a little bit better? And it makes the color even on this spot. Oh, you can kind of see that on the TV. You can see my sanding lines originally where I didn't sand too well. So let's take a look more in this area. So you can see I got that nice vibrant red in here. If I was to put you can see the color on my red. If I was to put a CA finish on top of that, it would really bring out the color. But just to do this, to give you an idea what it's going to do. I'm just going to give it, the beauty of going by Ed's place is that I can use his lacquer shot. I don't know if you can come in on this one. It looks a little blotchy. As this would dry, well, it's starting to dry right there. So what I did when I did that handle, this other handle, is I did the color scheme on here. I shot it so that it would blend. Then I took my diamond point tool and gave myself a diamond point at the edge to give me a very clean edge on this side. Diamond point on this edge to give me a very clean edge on this side. And then I used a black marker. I used a fine point black Sharpie to give me that black line into it. Now, if you don't want to do it with the fine point Sharpie, the other thing that you can do, and I just started to do this, was I love these things. Yeah. This is what I did. This one. This handle is probably 10 years old. When I first started doing this handle, it just sits in my demo. But you can actually use the burning wire and burn a line into it. I have been doing a lot more pieces with the burn. What I'll do is I'll use that the cutter that I showed you earlier, and I'll give myself 3 little cups in there, and then I'll burn it. And if you want to know how I did that, take a look at not this month, not last month, but the month before, the demo I did on pepper mills, and I showed you exactly how I did the 3 lines in there. So hopefully that shows you the technique on what I wanted to show you with getting some color on your blanks. So Transtant works great. You can put a second or third coat on it. I'll just be completely transparent with you. I would have sanded mine a little bit better. I wish I would have. It would have looked a little nicer. Completely 100% on me, and I apologize for that one.
About time.
It's trying to be respectful of people's time and doing this in 2 hours.
I did link to your video, Mark, so that if people want to see more about the coloring, the video's in the links.
Thank you. And what a great channel that is. 10 minutes to better pen making. Oh. So that kind of covers. So how are we doing on time?
8 o'clock.
So before I do open it up to questions, I want to give those of you who came a little preview of what I'm going to do next week. And every week I'm going to just tell you what I'm going to do the following week. Even though I've got it all planned out, I'm not going to go too far. So next week, today was, what do we call this one?
Handle on holidays.
Handle on the holidays. Next week, we're going to call it Turning to Christmas. Yep, I write all these. Pretty good, huh? And what I'm going to do, turning to your kitchen. So we're going to talk about kitchens. This is a series of scoops that you can do using just pen blanks. We're going to talk about how I do the series of scoops using pen blanks. We're going to talk about other things that you can do around the kitchen using pen blanks. These are measuring cups. This one is using, any idea who would make these kind of blanks, Ed? Or this kind of blank?
An Underhill named John.
This is a nutcracker. This is a coffee scoop. I got a couple other ideas of stuff that I want to show you next week, so I'm still keeping the good stuff away. But this is one that I just started doing. This one comes out, I think, looking great in Spectraply. This is the nutmeg maker. And all you do is you pull this handle up. You put the nut in there, drop it down, crank it over. I did it on the brown Spectraply because that's what nutmeg looks like. And I think this one came out kind of nice. So it's a kind of fun little project. I will tell you the biggest challenge on doing this one, and we'll talk about it next week, is that you use 5 different drill bits to do it, Forstner bits. But I think Ed can talk you off the cliff because I did it all in the metric size bits that are recommended. I think you know some of the equivalents out there when we can do this one. So thank you, Mark, for your coloring and responding to an email. No problem, Jim.
One thing you might.
Oh, Harold doesn't like my titles. He wants me to keep my day job. Unfortunately, my day job is a turner and demonstrator. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm still where I want to be. How did you get? Oh, sorry, Dean. You scrolled up a little bit. Are there any questions that are posted out there that I want to get there?
Nope. We've hit them all.
Have you? Hang on. Have you to do the blotching? Yes. Okay. Can you zoom in on me, Sarah, or on the nutmegger? Let's go to that one. So that's the nutmegger. It's got a bottom on there. And all you do is you pull up the top, put your nutmeg nut in there. There's a little clamp thing in there that's going on. And you just simply crank it over. There are no instructions on this, so I can provide you with instructions. But I think this is a cool little one, and some of the handles. And I got a couple other things up my sleeve that I'm going to be doing for demos next week. In the comments, or if you wouldn't mind, please do me a favor. Dean, you want to go back to the front camera? Could you guys do me a favor and and Dawn a favor too? Shoot us an email. If you got something in the comments that you want to send me, whether you think this format is a good format. We decided that what we're going to do is we're going to try to do full projects. These 4 are going to be special ones where we're just doing it for Christmas, to do some Christmas projects, but we want to go through it and we want to do everything start to finish. And I might do a couple pure technique at the end, like I did about the coloring technique. But the idea is full project, start to finish. And I've got this one, and then I've got 2 more after that.
One of the things that we hope we're accomplishing, and I think Mark does a very good job of it, is trying to show you some things that you may not be familiar with.
No, I'm here. No, I'm here. Hold on. Wait. We did lose the sound for them though. Hold on one sec. What the heck?
Let's keep going like this. Let's keep going.
There we go. Oh, I know what happened. I'll fix it. I was trying to uncover Ed's face, and I think that killed the sound too.
Oh, well. That was better off with the sound.
So
forget the face. We don't need
the
it.
The sound is back. Move closer to Mark. That we can. There we go. See your face
Okay.
too.
Well, and the
I
other
took the
thing,
logo.
Go ahead, Dean.
I took the logo away so we could see Mark.
Yep, I understood what you did there.
And I killed the sound at the same time. All better. Sorry, my bad.
One of the other things, though, that I think that we're trying to do is, it's one thing to get these projects and look at the instructions and think that it's intimidating.
Yeah.
I like the fact that, or hopefully the fact is that we're taking someone who's got pen making background and how would they do it using the tools and the parts. And if you notice, especially using that turn between centers mandrel, we can do a lot of stuff that when they wrote those instructions on how to make an ice cream scoop, they had no idea that we had the turn between centers mandrel.
Yep.
If you look at the ice cream scoop specifically, and you look at that one, they talk about drilling a hole all the way through. And so you got to take the bit, you got to flip the piece around, you got to drill in from the other side, you got to hope that you can get a drill bit that's long enough and that it'll meet in the middle, all that other stuff, because then you're going to put, using some of the tools and the techniques that we have and that we know about, we're doing it a little bit different than what I think they're doing in their instructions. So hopefully that comes out and helps people.
The other thing is, if you took this and put it just at the entrance to your booth at a show, the first thing that's going to happen is people are going to look at it and say, what is that, a birdhouse? You have the opportunity to talk to them. The first thing you want to do at a show is get the opportunity to talk to them. If you can put something up there that's going to grab their attention, and then they start talking to you, you're 2/3 of the way to selling something, because half the people at the show who are exhibitors are busy reading a book. So, the ways that this can be used for those of you who do shows, Not in Chicago, of course. You do anything in Chicago, you're not allowed to use any of these ideas. But anywhere else, you can use the ideas, and I think you'll do very well.
So Pimey points out, and I love this one, don't tell John how much we enjoyed the show tonight because he wasn't in attendance. I will tell you this, and this is dead serious. John and I watch whoever was featured in one of the videos. We see whose counts are higher than the other guys. And trust me, it's a running thing with John and myself where we're always having fun going, well, mine got to 400 in 24 hours. Mine got to 500 in 48 hours. And so most of our videos get to about 400 to 500. A couple of them got to 700 or 800 video, views on there. We have a contest between the two of us. So I appreciate that comment. So I would say the other way, next time you see John, ask him if Mark is going to be there.
Of course, both of them don't realize that the real draw is me.
Yeah.
So
thank you on the format is very educational and your tips and tricks are very good. You've got my vote, so I do appreciate that one. If you guys have, the other thing is too, I still have 3 more weeks. If there's some project that's Christmas related, gift related, or something like that you see on Ed and Dawn's website, shoot them an email, and as long as I can pick the component set up, sure, I might do it. So, or we could do possibly either that one more show at some point of just things that people follow up to a bunch of questions that people had.
If we get feedback, we certainly can make it happen. So it's just a matter of you have things that you'd like to do, and it does not have to be related to products that Exotic sells. If you're one of the things that I used to do from time to time, never really made it to the show, is just make little snowmen, and there's nothing to it. It's a piece of wood with three circles, but that's the kind of thing that is as cheap as it can be, and you can show it to your grandkids if you want to. If you want to show them how to do turning, you can show them how to do turning with something that simple. We're perfectly happy to do that kind of thing if there's interest in it. So.
Hey, Dean, can you do me a favor? Can you put the MPG website on in the chat? And could you look up, Dean, if you don't mind, the dates for it? I think it's April. It's the 3rd weekend in April, I'm pretty sure. And it's Friday. It's Friday and Saturday officially. Come out on Thursday night. Yes, Dean has the power. Dean always does.
Without Dean, we're kind of useless.
Yeah, I got my phone.
So there's one question you missed. The reason Dean's got the power is I made the comment and said, I'll just mute you guys completely, then I'll be the popular one. Mark, Bob asks, can he ask what your pizza slicers go for?
Yeah, let me do that. Yeah, no problem. April 17th and 18th, 2026, Hoffman Estates. It depends. On what I'm doing. I've got 2 different styles that I do. But they go for, let me see, the pizza cutters are approximately, I think they're $58.
Realize that when you sell this stuff, again, I'm getting into my sales routine.
Which you normally do a demo at the end. Where do you do that one?
Well,
at the MPG?
Sometimes at the MPG I do that, yeah. But when you're trying to sell gift items, understand that people have said to me, nobody in their right mind would spend $50-some for a pizza cutter. That may be true.
Oh no, they do.
But when there is a pizza cutter that is going to attract attention, and it's going to be something that they can use as a conversation starter, it might be in their bar at their home. You're not dealing with the average, well, I can go out and buy this for $10. Yes, you absolutely can, and it'll look like it was $10. If you're going to use it as part of your home, as part of your decoration, if you will, then clearly it is worth a heck of a lot more.
Well,
and when people put things in their kitchen, they are not looking at the price tag.
Even as a gift, though. I mean,
yes,
knowing what someone's favorite color is,
yep,
and then doing a handle in their favorite color. It was like one of the first things I mentioned. Or I know what their kitchen is decorated looking like, and I know their color scheme in their kitchen and stuff like that. one of the things I failed to point out was a lot of this stuff applies to the demo I did a couple months ago on pepper mills.
Mm-hmm.
Pepper mills work the same way.
Yep.
Do they? I showed. I think on that one I showed some half wood, half acrylic pepper mills that I do also.
Yep.
Those are always real popular. And the nice thing about it is it's stuff that other people aren't doing.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else turning a wood pepper mill out of maple. It's interesting. Doing the colors and stuff like that, I think it takes it over. And
Yep.
doing the Spectraply is great. And I think even on the Spectraply one, I showed how I do golf ball markers in there,
Yep.
and I
Yep.
did it with the Iowa color scheme, and I put an Iowa Hawkeyes golf ball marker in it.
One of the things that I talk about at my presentation when I do them, it's a story that's rather long, so we'll make a short version. Short version is I had a lady that came to my booth early on. It's a nice place. It's a Arlington Park racetrack. It was very high end. And she was sat in the booth for quite a while to talk to me. Looked at all kinds of pens. My pens at that time were $38 for a cigar pen. She's looked at them, liked them, etc. Turned around, was ready to walk out. Now, I had spent 15 minutes with her, and I was a salesman. So I said to her, as nicely as possible, we spent some time together. It seems like you enjoyed the product, etc., etc. Why is it that you're leaving without purchasing anything? Those of you who say, I had brass balls, maybe I'm right, maybe you're right. But she was kind enough to turn around and give me an answer. Her answer was, I don't buy cheap gifts. I'm sorry, but your stuff is underpriced. That is exactly the person that you want to meet. So when you go to the shows, don't take the attitude that because you know how to make it and you realize it's pretty simple, that it isn't worth anything. To the person who's purchasing it, they don't know how to make it. They don't know what you did to make it happen. And if you saw some of Mark's pizza cutters, you would understand there's a different world out there. So it's really a matter of making something that they have a strong desire to purchase.
Well, and the other thing is, and this is going to possibly play into stuff coming up in the future, giving you a hint, is you're a lot of times you're asked to go to a party and bring a host or a hostess gift.
Yes.
These are great host and hostess gifts.
Yep. Yep.
So give it as a host or a hostess gift. The whole point that I want to dwell back on is I agree with you 1,000%. If I did that initial maple pizza cutter, ain't worth much.
Yep.
You put the color in it. You do the half wood, half acrylic. That one handle that I did. Where's the handle the one that I have on the thing with that one.
That one?
Yeah. Tell me that's not a spectacular piece of wood
Yes. Yes.
and handle on that one.
Yep.
So go ahead.
Yes.
Any more questions, comments, concerns?
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Nothing I see there. We do have a request, Ed. We might want to consider sometime after the new year putting your marketing talk back in rotation. I don't know if we've done it since we're back on YouTube. I know you did it on Zoom, but I don't know if we've done it on YouTube. And then just one comment from Billy. He says, underpricing will lose more sales than overpricing.
That's true. That's true. And when you underprice something, when you succeed at selling it, have you succeeded or have you just lost money? So what's the purpose of doing it? People used to ask me from time to time when I was young and at the shows, really, what do you like best about this turning stuff that you do? You turn all this stuff, and what do you like best about it? And I would frequently say, I like best collecting the $100 that you just gave me for my work. So, there's a very big difference between giving it away and selling it.
So when people come into my booth and they ask me about that stuff, I'll always say, and I love doing this one, it's a guaranteed conversation starter, right? And they'll go, well, how can you guarantee that it's a conversation starter? And I said, I just did.
That's right.
You just came in and started to talk to me about it. So I can guarantee you it's a guaranteed conversation starter.
At least one conversation. Any other questions, or should we start tapering off, or what's the plans here, guys?
I don't see anything else. I think it's a good time to start wrapping it
Time
down.
to say goodnight.
Well, I hope that, let me just say, if it's okay with you,
Sure.
Ed,
Go ahead.
let me just say, I hope that you guys enjoyed this one. Please send some comments, either post them on the video so that we do follow it. So I know what we're going to do in the next couple times. And I don't know what the crowd was on here, but I hope that you guys all come out for doing the next couple ones.
Yep.
I've got some exciting projects. Next week is going to be a little bit more on not repurposing, but reusing pen blanks and some of the same tooling that I have here. But I'm turning everything from scratch so that this way I know what I'm doing when I'm doing it, so that when I show the piece off, like the measuring cups and stuff like that, if you have questions, I know how I did it and we can talk about it.
So thanks to Mark, and remember that now this is going to be each week for a while until we get one of the major reasons, by the way, if anybody asks, well, why'd you decide to change to Tuesday? Fourth Thursday of November has one big problem.
So it's the fourth Thursday in Thanksgiving in December.
Is it? Okay. So basically, we didn't think we'd grab a large crowd when we were going to be on Thanksgiving. So this is our way of trying to, first of all, give you more information, because we think at this time of the year there's an awful lot that you would like to learn.
Well, and I picked the date because I knew John couldn't make it on Tuesdays.
Well, that's good. That's
So-
good. Yeah, that works.
So that leaves me up here.
And I didn't know the deer only ran on Tuesday.
I'm just kidding. If John's watching this later, I don't want John to get mad at me because I need his blanks. So John is phenomenal. And as I said, I mean, I even pointed out, I learned so much last month the way John does some of this. Some of the stuff spills into the way that I do the work.
We learned from each other.
Oh, yeah.
We've all done a lot of this stuff, but nonetheless, you learn from each other.
You know what, guys? Seriously, I see a lot of people saying that they're going to do this one and they're going to be turning handles. Would it be a big problem if you guys do some stuff, send it to sales at Exotic
pictures.
Blanks, send
Yeah,
pictures,
Send pictures.
and maybe we can incorporate it in
At the
some
beginning,
of the next
that's a
ones. Yeah.
great idea.
Yeah.
We talked about that. I just forgot completely about it. Yeah, if you send pictures to sales at Exotic Blanks, both of which are plural, .com, then we'll keep those pictures and put together a quick, like a PowerPoint before next one. So while we're all waiting for it from 5:45 to 6 o'clock, we can run some pictures of what everybody did.
And we
as a
can,
result of the last one.
we can have them coming up and scrolling over, and we can
Yeah.
talk over it at the beginning if people had questions.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Thank you, Rob. So yeah, send pictures of some of this stuff. It's great. It's kind of fun to see what you guys are doing.
So with that, Dean, why don't we call it a night?
Sounds good. Have a night, guys. See everybody
Thanks,
next week.
everybody. Bye now. Oh, that's good.